relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello, and thank you for watching.
We're back. Traditional TOFOP down the line as we pioneered way before COVID. We were the first podcast to go, hey, you know what? We don't need to be in the same room. We can just be in separate rooms and separate places. All you need is a laptop and a microphone that you sometimes remember to turn on.
Well, so much of that is a lie. It's not just one simple lie. We weren't the first podcast to do it. And secondly, we didn't choose to be in different locations. We were in different locations and we had to find a workaround. I don't think either of us went, oh, you know what? Let's free it up so we don't have to be in the same place. I think we were victims of the circumstance of not being in the same place, and we had to work out some way to do it. We were lucky in a way that the global pandemic accelerated the means by which we were already existing.
That's right. You're right. The technology actually kind of rose to meet our needs, didn't it, for once?
Yeah, we were already in essentially lockdown pandemic mode, us not being in the same place. We were definitely ahead of that. And then the world changing benefited our pre-existing business model.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who are still like in pandemic headspace. Like in terms of socialization and stuff, like I still think that there's people who go, I'll give you an example and I'll need your ruling on this. You love to be the do arbitration in my own internal conflicts. So the gym that I go to, the little kind of, they're obviously getting a lot of membership. Like they've been improving. It used to be just a shed with some like rusty old equipment. And then over the last 2 or 3 years, I've noticed like the equipment's gotten better. They've put in air conditioning. So it's no longer just like ceiling fans. They've like insulated the shed. They put in air conditioning. It's getting better and better.
Is air conditioning by necessity better? Because if the purpose for going to the gym, there's just a little bit of me that's like, isn't part of the whole idea of going to the gym to sweat it out? And therefore not having air conditioning, doesn't that just... But do you? Like, isn't all of it uncomfortable? Like, the reason I don't go to the gym is I find everything that you have to do at the gym uncomfortable. So in my head, I'm like, well, it may as well be like a Bikram style workout at the same time, because that feels like I'm, getting more benefit out of
full
it.
benefit.
Feels like to me, I'm getting, yes, exactly.
I don't know, I'm sure sweating is good. You still sweat with the aircon. It's just taking, I'd say that, look, you're going to sweat regardless, right? But with the ceiling fan or whatever they had previously.
More if it was like just a ceiling fan and no aircon,
is that
right?
necessarily better though, sweating?
I don't know. That's what
more?
I'm asking you. I don't know. Like I've associated the idea of sweating a lot with...
Sweating to the oldies. Going to make you sweat like CNC Music Factory told us all those years ago.
That's right. And like the only factory workers that I know worked at the CNC Music Factory, and they told me they were going to make you sweat.
That was their problem. All individual contracts. So when they shut the CNC Music Factory down, they moved it offshore. It was too easy.
Do you think, in retrospect, now that we're looking at the lyrics of the CNC Music Factory, that they were called the CNC Music Factory and they wanted to make you sweat? Were they running a sweatshop? Were they saying that we are running a sweatshop factory? Because they're literally a factory and they're going to try to make us sweat.
I mean, I can't... Have we done the lyrics? I feel like we have.
We've talked about the CNC Music
Williams,
Factory previously. Yes, that's
right.
Yeah,
but going to make you sweat.
Formerly of the CNC Music Factory.
Yeah, okay. All right, so... No, I feel like we've done this before, but anyway, let's just revisit quickly. So everybody dance now. Give me the music. Everybody dance now. Blah 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 blah. A lot of years. Okay,
yeah, I think we did Everybody Dance. But is this going to make you sweat, or is this like the same song?
Yeah, this is going to make you sweat. Yeah.
So I thought it was called Everybody Dance Now, but it's called Gonna Make You Sweat, is it?
It's going to make you sweat in brackets. Everybody Dance.
Everybody Dance Now.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds familiar, but just to sort of remind people.
I'm sure you have gone through the lyrics of this song, but
is
there anything in the lyrics that imply that this is about running a sweatshop and they're just hiding it in plain sight?
I don't know about sweatshop, but there's something weird going on. So beats and lyrics to make you shake your pants. I mean, Is that a euphemism? I'm going to make you shake your pants. Like I've
No,
never
no,
heard
no.
anyone
I think
say.
this is the workers in the CNC music factory. They're manufacturing pants and they have to like dry
Okay.
them off or
Shake
shake
them
them. Like
out.
this is part of the, like if you
Yeah.
work at the CNC music factory, one of the roles you're going to have to play that'll be eventually
Beats and
replaced
lyrics
by,
to make you
yeah,
shake your pants. Oh, is
shake,
that sort
yeah,
of a threat? More beats and lyrics says you'll get a beating
yeah,
unless you shake out the pants the way we've shown you.
yeah. They beat them and they yell at them until they shake the pants in an
The pants
appropriate
properly.
way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take a chance, come on and dance. Guys grab a girl, don't wait, make her twirl.
Okay.
What's the
All right.
well, take a chance, come on and dance. I mean, that might be a threat. Like if you
Yeah.
don't shake out the pants properly, you take a chance, come on and dance. Guys grab a girl, don't make her make her twirl. It's
Well,
your
that might
world.
be also take a chance if you don't do it properly. We're going to make you dance. That might be genuinely like, you know, that like sometimes they'll fire bullets at people's feet, you know, to kind of like make them dance in that old school
Oh yeah, yeah,
threatening
yeah.
way,
Dance.
right?
Yeah,
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 I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah.
make you dance, right? If you take a
Yeah.
chance, if you try to go against our pre-imposed system here at the CNC Music Factory, we are literally going to fire bullets at your feet.
It's your world, and I'm just a squirrel
Yeah.
trying to get a nut
Mm-hmm.
to move your butt
Yeah.
to the dance floor. So what's up?
I mean, now I think this is just in the zone of
Sexual harassment?
no. I mean, I think this is more your Michael Keaton Batman approach of.
All right. Do you want to get
Do
nuts?
you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Like it's a bit more of like, and I'll do anything. I'll do this. If you don't believe that I'm going to fire bullets at your feet to make you shake your pants better, then you better believe I'm going to because I'm a squirrel. And they're
Okay.
like,
Then they
yeah,
say,
don't mess
pause,
with that guy. He reckons he's a squirrel.
pause and take a breath. Let's go for yours. On my command, hit the dance floor. Gonna make you sweat till you bleed.
Yeah, that's
Is that
not
dope
good.
enough? Indeed.
I mean, also, you don't want to sweat until you bleed. When is that ever?
No, that's well. You asked the question: is like how much do you need to sweat for it to be healthy? I would suggest
Yeah.
sweating till you bleed.
Too
Unhealthy.
much. Yeah,
much
that's too
sweating
much. Do you
going
reckon
on
that's
there.
what happened at your local gym? One day somebody was in there doing a workout with the old ceiling fans and they've sweat so much that they've bled. And somebody's worked at the gym goes, well, I'm going to consult the internet. And they've found the lyrics of CNC Music Factory and gone, this is not right. We need aircon.
Well, it is a kind of roundabout way to get to what I want you to arbitrate on because
Right. Okay.
its charm was it was a rustic kind of, thrown together gym. It wasn't one of your Globo, fitness first type gyms. Like you just signed up for a pretty nominal fee a week. You get a little pass. You can go.
Before we, okay, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah.
But,
No, that's fine.
I was thinking about fitness first because next to the post office, I'm currently between official addresses. And so I've got myself a post box. And it means that I just occasionally have to go and visit this particular shopping center that this post box is in and go and check, if my post is in my post box. And it's next to a Fitness First. And every time that I go
know the
up
Fitness
there,
First. I think that was my Fitness First back when I lived in Sydney, the one you're talking about.
actually, it would have been probably, yeah. And so that Fitness First, every time I go up to the post office and I say Fitness First, when they say Fitness First, and this is such a weird thing to have been preoccupying me, but I'm glad this came up because this isn't a big enough deal that I would have introduced this to the podcast as a topic,
Okay.
but I have been dying to talk to you about this. So I'm so glad that we stumbled onto it by accident because it's just every time I'm like, what does the first refer to in Fitness First? Is it meant to imply they're the best, like they're the first, as in they're the number one fitness gym brand? Or is it about you putting your fitness first, as in like, is it for people who put fitness first? Or is it about like doing your fitness before other things? Do your fitness first and then get on with the rest of your day? Like what is the first in Fitness First referring to?
I think it is putting fitness first in your day. Having been I was one of the earliest members of Fitness First. I was in the top 10. Like I think my official number in Fitness First was number 5. to the point where when they started in Australia, I was one of the first people to sign up. So they signed me up on this sweetheart deal, which was like, we want to get people. And
Yeah.
because I was so aware of the fact that I got this sweetheart deal, even when I moved states and started going to a different fitness first, they would try and charge me the normal rate. I'm like, no.
No.
If you review this initial contract I signed back in 2006 or whatever it was,
That's
I'm on a sweetheart deal. And the amount of like managers
one of those people who
would,
joined a frequent flyer program in the early days and now can fly around the world for free forever.
for free. Yeah. And I would stand my ground. Like, I'm terrible with confrontation, but this was one hill I was willing to die on, where anytime I signed up at a new Fitness First or was traveling to the state and wanted to use a Fitness First gym, there'd always be someone who'd be like, oh, that can't be right. You're on like, $17 a week or something. You're paying $17 a week for your membership when it should be 30. And I'm like, read my contract, motherfucker. You did a big like signing blitz in 2006. I got in there.
And we'll never change it. Part of the thing is we'll never change it.
Yeah. So I reckon, knowing the Fitness First, because Fitness First isn't just like, they have your regular Fitness First gyms, which is like the one that you see when you go to the post office. And you got Fitness First Platinum, which is essentially the same gym. It's just the people are better looking because they charge more for people to get in there. So it's like if you want a bit more of an exclusive workout.
Is that really I bet they have a few more sort of like fancy high-end machines, right? Pilates and
not enough for me. Like when I tried to Platinum, I was like, this is not enough like bells and whistles for me to be paying
gym
extra.
People to hang out with other hot young gym people.
It's for people who like to go to the gym and hang out and talk to each other in their activewear as opposed to actually, working out. Then they also have their Fitness First magazine. Yes. And within that, there's like, clubs that you can become, incentives, all that incentive programs, all that kind of stuff. So I would say that they see themselves as fitness is everything, man. Like, fitness isn't just about lifting weights or doing cardio. It's about making community and friends and all this other kind of planning holidays. And, they probably do I would not be surprised if there was a Fitness First cruise.
I get how that fits the Fitness First brand now, right? And when you think about Fitness First, I kind of, now when I see it, so this is what got me thinking about it in the first place, was now when I see it, it's almost like the implication in the name is they're just the biggest brand in fitness. If you think of fitness, you think of Fitness First, right? Now, maybe that's changed, F45 and all those sort of different things. But that Fitness First was the name of the business when they started. So it can't have meant we're the number one gym brand in the country when they first started. Did it mean, that's what I'm asking. It meant put fitness first in your life.
Yes. Make fitness your primary focus. Put fitness first and all these other benefits will flow on. Can we interest you in a rewards program?
I've got a subsequent question, which is this. Where in your life, if you were naming the things in your life, where does fitness come? Like, assuming that, say, like, for example, family might be the first thing, right? Or your relationship. If you
family and friends.
Family and friends. Yeah. So where does fitness fit? Would it make the top 5 of things in your life?
Yeah. I reckon it's pretty high for me.
Well, yeah. How high?
Fitness third.
Fitness fourth has a nicer ring.
Fitness third. I'd say family and friends.
We'll give you the top 3.
Family and friends, then it's work career.
Yeah.
And then I'd say fitness. Because that's
fitness
in order
fourth.
of...
They should call it. This is what I'm saying. Fitness fourth is in fact, I might start a rival brand where I have a more realistic, called Fitness Fourth, where we think you should prioritize 3 things before your fitness, but we feel like it should be in the top 5. Because I think that's more achievable. I can't live in a world where I have to put my fitness first. But if you told me that maybe you could see a vision of my world where my fitness was fourth, that's properly aspirational to me. Because at the moment, I reckon it's about 7th. But if I could get it to 4th, I'd be pretty happy with fitness.
Putting too much pressure on yourself. Just go fitness 5th. I think that would sit nicely. Fitness 5th. It's only you only have to improve by 2 places.
Yeah, but now I'm worried about the other 4 things. I'm like, what if I had to have fitness?
Have you got 4 things? I don't love enough things.
Like friends, family, other friends,
football, friends, family. It's the 3 Fs. friends, family, football, fitness, fucking. The 5 F's, Will. It's the new nutrition pyramid. It's the 5 F's.
Okay. So I apologize that I have taken
Friends,
you
family,
off.
football, fitness. Is that 5? Friends, family, fitness, football, and fucking. Yeah, they're the 5 F's. So it's going to make sure there are 5. So this gym,
Yes,
right? So yeah, it
your gym.
converted from being a like a rustic sort of like a country gym, and they've slowly been making improvements. But when it was like a like a more of a kind of ad hoc organization, you might see people coming in, doing a quick set wearing thongs, or they just come wearing work boots or whatever. They're not wearing like your latest Under Armour gym gear or whatever like that. That was just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
And there are sort of like rules, you got to wear closed-toed shoes and that kind of stuff. But because it's a 24-hour gym that's not really staffed that often, a lot of people get away with things. Anyway, as these improvements have been happening, it's like a more comfortable gym to be in, right? So the idea that you'd sort of like want to go in there and in your thongs and stuff because it's so hot, you don't really need that anymore. There's air conditioning. But the other day I was in there and there was a dude working out without his shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
And that is unusual. Like,
was he good looking? Like, was he like was he in
older
particularly
dude.
good shape?
No. Okay. He was in good shape. He was in probably I'd say he's older than me, probably in his early 50s, like trim, but not like peacocking. Like it's not the kind of rig where you're like, oh, that just has to be, you just have to be shirtless. But I think there was an element of peacocking. There wasn't a lot of people in the gym, maybe 3 or 4 of us. But I'm sort of watching this dude going around, and it's happened once before where a guy came in and just stripped his shirt off to do a set, and there was a staff member there, and the staff member came over and said, hey, you got to wear a shirt, like no shoes, no shirt, no working out or whatever. Yeah. But there was no staff on hand this time.
No shoes, no shirt, no sit-ups.
So I'm watching this guy. He starts on like the bike, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty gross. Like all that back sweat's just like, it's not being caught by his t-shirt or anything like that. It's just like dripping onto the seat.
Do they? And then no, there's no toweling down, like, because I mean, at most gyms you've got like a toweling down policy, right? Was this?
Yeah, that's right.
At its 24-hourness, did people tend to towel down post their workouts?
Yeah, like, I'd say the behavior at this gym is pretty standard. Like people bring towels, water bottles. Like people aren't behaving out of the ordinary. Occasionally you might get a guy coming in thongs or whatever, but this was beyond the pale. And there normally is a big sign stuck on the wall with the, 10 rules of the gym, be courteous, polite, put your weights back, wear closed-toe shoes, wear shirts, all this kind of stuff. But it wasn't stuck up. And I was sitting there like just quietly fuming because I'm like, he's flaunting. I love the rules, Will. I love the rules. You can't have a world without rules. Otherwise, it's just chaos. This guy's not following the rules. But there was obviously as part of the renovations and putting the air conditioning, they'd taken all the signage off the wall. So I couldn't go tap the sign or anything like that. But then I sort of was having this debate about
the sign? Like,
well,
with another man in the gym in that situation, would you tap the sign?
You often come to mind with me because, like, you're like this little voice on my shoulder. Whenever I'm being a narc, little fucking anarchist Will appears on my shoulder and is like, "What's your problem? Like, who's you hurting? Why do you got to stick your nose in other people's business? Like, just leave the fucking guy alone. Are you the sheriff of where you live? No, shut the fuck up." So I had a little Will and I was like, "All right, Will," little Will on my shoulder. Stop saying that.
They were many of the arguments that I was going to put forward at an appropriate moment, so I'm glad that they did at least run through your mind.
But then I was like, but he's sweating everywhere, and it's making me uncomfortable. Like there was something about his because even though it's there's air conditioning and stuff, it's still fucking humid up here, and he's still glistening, and he may have been toweling off or not, but I don't want to be looking at his slick, like sweat-covered back and the drops of sweat he's leaving everywhere, and there's no need for it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a medical condition where he has to kind of take his shirt off. He was doing it.
Maybe he does, though.
What do you mean? So what medical condition means you can wear pants and shoes and socks but not a shirt?
I don't know. You brought
The
it
Matthew
up.
McConaughey-itis.
You suggested that there might be one, so I'm just willing to say if there is one. No, by the way, just as a starting principle, people should keep their shirts on at the gym. Like, I don't think it's appropriate to be at the gym because of all the things that you're saying. It's just in the same way as
Courtesy.
someone can't take their shirt off on a plane or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
we have some. There is still
And I
some
understand
general
that-
conventions of society that we adhere to, right?
Where I live, like Byron Bay, Woolworths,
Yeah.
people will walk down the aisles with no shoes on and a
Yes,
G-string
no
bikini.
shoes, no
like
shirt.
that's completely guys will be
Yes.
shirtless. That's the way it is, and I get that, and I accept that. It's a holiday, you know, live in a holiday destination. That's how it
Yes.
goes.
And there's an
But
aspect
this-
of like going to, say, the supermarket that implies we're just grabbing something between the like things that we're
Beach.
doing where
Yep.
this outfit we're wearing right now is appropriate. Whether it's beach or bongos, whatever we're doing before this or after this, we're dressed right for that. This is the
Yep.
exception to what the rest of our day is. And so I think
Yep.
we all accept that, right? Like you're
Mhm.
wearing, we understand what you're wearing because like this is a thing that you're popping in and out of from the place where what you're wearing is appropriate. But when you're at the gym or on a plane or, you know, any of these sort of things, you're like, well, you didn't just pop from the beach onto this Qantas flight. Like, you know, there was
if you're
enough steps in between.
if you're in a plane with someone and they take off their shoes but
Yeah.
leave on their socks, are you okay with that? Yes, you are.
How long's the flight?
Like
mean,
it's not a short one. Like let's say more than 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like you're flying to Perth or
Yeah,
further.
man. Your feet
Yeah,
swell
take
up.
your sock.
Take
Your
your-
feet swell. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm a big advocate for taking off the shoes. That's also to make sure we're on the same page. Yeah, so this dude is strutting around, and I did sort of have to kind of play in my mind of like, well, what am I going to achieve with this? And what am I actually saying? Like, I don't work here. I have no
Nothing.
authority.
All you're going to do is start some sort of
Aggravate.
something. Yes. Yes. That's all that's going to happen.
but
There's nothing else that can be achieved from this situation other than more problems. You're not
Don't you
going to
think
fix
there's people
anything.
who do take care of business? They'll be like, yeah, fuck, man, no way. Like this dude's encroaching on my personal space and beliefs, and I'm going to let them know about it. Like, is there not something to be said for that kind of conviction?
No, good on those people, but they make me feel very uncomfortable. Like I know they
When they
exist and they
confront.
probably get a lot done, but anybody who like really reinforce, like I mean, great, stand up for what is right and appropriate and whatever. I get all that, and when it works, it's majestic. But here's what my general observation of the strike rate of those sort of things is that they don't work all the time. And when they don't work, the price that you pay for them not working, the awkwardness of the workout, maybe you have to then avoid when he's at the gym. Oh, it's that guy I had that run in with. Like you don't actually
That's a
work
good
at the
point.
gym. So this is like a citizen's arrest. Like you don't actually have any. If he comes back and says, well, mate, do you work here? And you're like, well, you have no leg to stand on at that point. Maybe he's a sovereign citizen. He doesn't, the laws of the gym don't apply to him.
I guess you're right. I mean, it would have just created further problems for myself because ultimately, like, you know, it's that thing of like, are they hurting anyone? He wasn't really hurting anyone. Like, there was no
play it
immediate damage.
I'll be him.
I'm
old
you'll be the guy?
shirtless. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
old shirtless. What did he look
Shirtless
like? Give me
nipple, shirtless nipple ring, bleach blonde hair nipple ring, just to give
bleach
people
blonde hair, nipple ring. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine like if Billy Idol, a taller, lanky Billy Idol. Billy Idol's probably in his 50s or maybe his 60s now. Anyway.
I mean, like this guy is a nightmare, and I can understand why. Like bleach blonde hair in his 50s, shirtless with his nipple ring hanging out at the gym. I mean, I hate him. I hate everything about him, and I can understand why it would annoy you that he was sweating everywhere. Like, but I am him for the purposes of this, and I am going to become this character. Let's just play out this scenario.
Okay. Excuse me, mate. How you going? Sorry, didn't mean to
Hello.
interrupt. Is there a reason you're not wearing a shirt?
Um, yeah. I mean, it's just a bit hot in here, isn't it? And like
Yeah, it is hot.
yeah.
It's just I'm not sure if you're aware. There is a policy at this gym that everyone has to wear clothing. I think it's a hygiene thing, so we don't get sweat on the equipment and
Oh
that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
No,
And
I've been very careful to towel down everything post me using it. So there'd be no difference if I was wearing a shirt or wasn't wearing a shirt. I'm toweling everything down.
well, there
So
is a little bit of a little bit of a difference. I mean, you're going to sweat more by having no shirt on, and so I just would really appreciate it as a fellow member of this gym.
yeah.
If you wouldn't mind just putting a shirt on, because in case I use the equipment after you, I don't have to worry that you've sweated all over it. Is that okay?
Well, you don't have to worry that I've sweated all over it though, because as I said to you, I'm
Look, I don't
toweling
want
it
to
down.
rock the cradle of love, Billy, but you're starting to
Hey, are
piss
you
me
insulting
off.
me? Are you?
Yeah, I am. Nipple ring.
Hey,
Put a fucking
hey,
shirt on.
are you body shaming me?
No,
I'm just
not body shaming
well.
you.
I don't know if it's appropriate that you're hanging around at this gym body shaming people who go here. I might have
I
to.
am not.
Do you work at this gym?
No, I
So
don't.
you've
I
made it
pay
your
my membership
policy
fee
to
just
come up
like
to me.
you.
Well, your membership fee doesn't enable you to come up to another person in the gym and body shame them.
Mate,
And I
your
think
membership doesn't enable you to flaunt the rules where you have to wear a shirt
what
before
rules?
working out.
Well, how do you know
The
that?
rules
Do you
to-
work here?
There's a sign.
Where are these rules? Where is this
They've
sign?
taken it down because they've
Oh,
put, they've put
that's
this air conditioning up.
suspicious. That is very unlikely. There's a sign, is there, that just today happens to not be here conveniently.
Do you want me to call? Do you want me to
Who
call
are
the
you gonna
management line?
call?
Should we call manage? Let's call management. Okay, that's me.
I'm
Beep, beep,
just
beep.
working out. Why have you? You don't work here.
Hi. My name's Charlie Clausen. I'm a member of your gym. There is another member here who isn't wearing a shirt. Is it mandatory for people to wear shirts? Oh yeah, that's mandatory. The people can't work at the gym without a shirt on. Okay. Any more questions? No, that's it. Thank you. Click. Who are you calling?
Hi, it's Billy from the gym, and I was just working out when one of your other patrons has come up and actively body shames me. Got into my space. I was just working out by myself. Approached by this, I was absolutely friendly. I mentioned to him that I was toweling down after every workout, and what would you do about that? Oh, we're going to have to revoke his membership. We've been
What?
ripping off Fitness First for years. Hang on, I've got another
Hi.
call.
I just called. This guy who's not wearing a shirt. Did you say that you're going to revoke my membership? I have not actually broken any rules. Oh, sorry, sir. Hang on. When did you turn into the mum and dad from the Charlie Brown cartoons? Look, there would be no solution in that moment.
No,
Well, he'd
it
either
would
put on
be a
his shirt or
confrontation. He'd either, best case scenario, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, mate," and he puts
Yeah.
on his shirt. Now, here's what I would say also, Charlie. I'm on your side completely. He should have his shirt on, particularly if you've got a nipple ring. Like that nipple ring could catch on something. It's a safety issue. Like, I absolutely believe that he should have his shirt on. But I don't think that you confronting him about it when you have no authority other than moral authority that you've taken upon yourself in that situation would make the situation better.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, could I approach it differently and say, hey, look, mate, we all love working out with our shirts off. It's great. Get some sun on your skin. But look, in a gym's probably not the place to do it. There is a great outdoor work area in Byron Bay. If you just want to drive like 15 minutes into town, I can drop your pin, show you exactly where it is, and you can take your sweaty nipple ring out there and do your dirty
literally
business.
said, get out of this gym and go work out in a park. Do you think that's better? I don't think that's going to be received. Like, you've suggested the idea of working out outdoors to a man who has chosen to work out indoors. He doesn't think there is a problem. He's having a good old time. He isn't saying to you, oh, this is terrible. I wish I could do this somewhere there wasn't a roof. Like, he's
What
totally
makes
fine in his own
him
space.
so special? Like, there are tons of dudes. You
Wow.
just know there are dudes at the gym who would love to take their shirts off. They're the guys who spend most of their time in front of like the dumbbell rack, and they would love to just peel their
Yeah.
shirt off so they could have a quick glimpse of their pecs and their abs while they're working out, but they don't because they know there are rules.
But
Why does
how
this guy
much
get to flaunt the
in your
rules?
world where like how much clothing is appropriate? Because what are you wearing at the time when you're? So I need a
Like
picture of what you were wearing.
like singlet and shorts, like just normal gym gear, nothing
Yeah.
unusual.
So you got a
Suit of
singlet,
armor.
but you've got a you've got a you've
North
got a
Face
singlet
jacket,
on, right?
thick woolen pants, yeah.
So the argument can start to be made that the majority of your sweat is going to be leaking out of that off your skin, regardless onto the equipment, right? Back of your neck, under your arms, like. You see those guys at the gym sometimes like working out and they have the tiniest little singlets. Like, you know, like there is probably 40% of their upper body is still exposed despite the fact that they are technically wearing like an outfit. So I guess in this guy's world, it's not like there is you must be wearing a high neck, long sleeve workout outfit when you are on this equipment. People like to some degree are putting their exposed skin on and around the equipment. So he hasn't invented the idea of it. He's just said, you're willing to do it 15% or 20%. I'm willing to go the whole way and do it 100%.
I guess so. But it's a dumb argument because I'm following the rules. Like it says shirt, doesn't say specifically what kind of shirt. I'm wearing a shirt.
What if he said, well, I consider this nipple ring to be a shirt. So I am wearing a shirt.
Look, I spent the whole time just stewing on it.
Yeah.
And then that little will on my shoulder was just like, this is energy of yours better spent somewhere else. Like you're not going to confront him. You're not the person to do it. Just like wait for the appropriate authorities to arrive. But it just bugged me. There are some people who just live life with such kind of freedom that it actually upsets me because I don't have the courage. Like maybe that's it. Maybe I want to be him.
That's what it is.
I want to
in
be able
most
to go
cases.
take my shirt off.
It's one of the biggest things in our society is we get mad at people for doing things because we wish that we could do those things and get away with it. They're like, how do they get away with it? Like, I'm mad at them for getting away with it. When secretly, if you could be the person who got away with it, you'd be wrapped. You just don't have the courage to get away with it. And I'm not a get away with it person. Like, I'm a real rule follower, but I'm also a person who doesn't think that it's my role to enforce the rules on behalf of others or to hold others to the same rules that I am holding myself to. If somebody wants to step around the rules, there is a part of me that's like, I mean, it was funny today. There was someone in a who did the classic, the left-hand lane had to turn left lane, and they got stuck in that and needed to get back into
the right lane,
the right-hand lane. And there was a long bank of traffic, and I just saw this person like they realized when they were either going to be locked in this thing and trying to get back in and fucking up everybody for 10 minutes, or they had to do the other option, which was pedal to the metal, see if they could time it perfectly so when the lights change, they could shoot out,
get out in
and
front
do
of
the
right lane.
in front move,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what they did, and they pulled it off. And I saw a few people get pissed off, and all I did was sit in my car and went, well done. Good on you. Like, that is not the right thing to do, but it is also the right thing to do. And the other thing is, I know that I would try to, I'm not going to get mad at them for doing what I would love to be able to do in that same situation. I'm not saying I'd have the courage to do that. I think I'd probably apologize to everyone and go to the back of the line. But
I'm exactly the same as you. Like if I miss a turnoff or whatever, like some people, like I've missed a turnoff, I'm going to block 2 lanes of traffic so I can flip a U-turn to go around to get to where I'm going. I'm like, oh, well, I guess we're on this freeway now until the next exit.
I'll drive to a different suburb. Like I literally will be in a different postcode just to avoid holding other people up.
Because I get stressed out with because that thing too of letting traffic in, like just say you were on the main route, main arterial, and you've got side streets. And so the common practice seems to be let one in, move along, let one in, move along.
Yeah.
And the only time I've ever gotten furious was when I let it was actually like 2 days ago. I let the school bus in, and then because the school bus takes a while to sort of like maneuver around the corner, this ute just like snuck in behind. So I essentially let two cars in, and I was like, mate, that is not the accepted rule. I let the bus in, and that was like a big sort of generous move on my behalf because that's a big slow bus, and you just snuck in because the bus is taking so long to turn. Like that is a complete betrayal of the road rules, the road rules trust, or whatever we've established.
I know it is. And here's what you getting mad about it does.
What?
Nothing to help. Like, this is, and don't get me wrong, I am like anyone and have these moments of that same frustration. But what I try to do immediately is go, well, like all drivers make mistakes all the time, or you don't actually know if they were like doing the wrong thing, or you don't know what their individual circumstances are. If you knew, for example, that they thought their partner was picking up the kids at school that day, they got rung at the last moment, they're rushing to school so the kid isn't there. Like, you know what I mean? Like everyone's got something going on. You'd be like, oh yeah, fuck it, man. Jump in. You saw your opportunity. Get in. Good on you. I'm glad. Like I'm not in a rush going where I'm going or whatever it is. Like, but regardless,
well, I'll give you.
They win again if you sit there stewing, going, that isn't the rules, and getting mad, and they've just got on with their life. They're in. They've moved on.
I'll give you the opposite example. I was at the post office last week, and big line. There always is a big line, and there was a dude in front of me, or maybe two people in front of me, who must have got a call or something, and he had to bail out of the line, and so he bailed out. So the line moved forward. Some more people joined. Some other people at the front left. But when this guy came back, he did a Will Anderson and he rejoined the back of the line. And I said to him, come on, mate, just, come stand in front of me, because I knew that he'd been waiting. He rightfully, like he'd only been gone for like 2 or 3 minutes to take this call or whatever. He rightfully could take his place at the head of the queue. The fucking groans and moans and like up the people in the line were like, whoa, no, cutsy-insies or whatever. And I'm like, no.
Had they seen that he had walked away and come back? They just thought he was a...
No.
Yeah.
They just thought that I was just like, just letting some guy in front of me. But I would not in that instance, if I was at the back of the line, be like, hey, no cutsy-insies or whatever. I would just assume, oh, this is what's happened. Like this guy, his mate has clearly been holding his spot for him while he goes to take a call or something like that.
Well,
but there are...
So I like what you've done, by the way. I think that is the society that I would like to live in. If we're using this as a tiny little microcosm of human behavior, is the society where
everyone wears a shirt.
somebody steps away in that scenario. They assume that they should go to the back. I like that. And then someone who saw that what had happened invites them back and says, no, I saw, it's all good. That they don't assume that they can just come back. I like that about how they've approached it. And then I think your approach is the right thing as well. And I think everybody behind should shush it.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
Get fucked. We've got some mail, Will. So let's get into it. This first one's a bit long, so I don't know. This may even take us to the end of the episode. Okay. But let's see. This is from Patrick. Hey, fellas. Long-time fan. Finally pulled the trigger in signing up to Patreon. I'm trying not to make this email drag on too much, but I hope you find some enjoyment, or as little enjoyment as you want. Do you get a little enjoyment? Do you get as much or as little enjoyment as you want?
Yeah,
I guess so. Okay.
Yeah.
You choose your enjoyment level. Right. I've been listening to all of your pods since about 2016, and your conversations have been a part of some of the happiest and proudest moments of my life. Finishing uni, quitting the aged care sector after about 8 or 9 years, a job that I absolutely loved, becoming a nurse in the busy emergency department, which has been a long-term goal of mine, and my partner and I buying a house just over 12 months ago. I'll just pause so we can give a round of applause for another
medical professional joining our huge... I mean, seriously.
It's insane, right?
You know what the funny thing is? I had a medical procedure this week, and never have been... It was quite a a delicate medical procedure, and it was one of those ones where you're like, oh yeah, this is the place where I've got 100% recognition of people who enjoy things I do. Is of course when I'm going in for like so literally everyone in the process is like, oh yeah, I like your show. Or, oh yeah, blah blah
great.
blah.
Awesome.
And I did want to ask each of them because I was like, yeah, this is a medical. This is a good. I was like, I want to TOFOP. Do you listen to TOFOP? Because I was like, because.
This is when we need our medical alert bracelets, our
Right.
TOFOP medical alert bracelets. So you get the real medicine, Will. That's
Yeah.
what we're saying.
I mean, I
Like, we've
got the
to
real
get this
medicine too. What's the one that everyone in America is addicted to now? That
Oxycontin.
no, it's the one that's
fentanyl.
Fentanyl. So I had some fentanyl this week as part of
Good shit.
Wow. I mean, I can't remember anything, but
Sounds amazing. That's the drug for the times. I just don't want to remember anything.
All right. So yes.
Okay. So
medical
Patrick
professional
continues. Just bought a house. So I had done a bunch of great stuff. Just bought a house 12 months ago. Your conversations have also been a part of my darkest times, such as the seasonal depression throughout my 20s, the death of one of my best friends when I was 25, and most recently the death of my father just under 12 months ago.
Sorry.
My gratitude to you both echoes the words of many people before me. But thank you for the nonsense and the laughs. Your pods are something I look forward to each week and have become routine references for me and a couple of my old mates. I've always been very close with my parents, with a good balance of parent and friend. Mum told me a story of Dad fairly recently that I think you might enjoy. So, a few years ago, Mum and Dad were going on holiday to Vietnam with a couple of their friends, Mr. and Mrs. X, not to share names. Dad was driving them all with no prior planning or discussion with them. He said he had a cookie for each of them for the flight. Dad had been cooking since he was about 8 and had started smoking pot pretty soon after, and I can say his cooking of anything has been the best I've ever had. Mum said no. She called him an idiot and didn't think much more of it. A couple of hours later, the four of them are in the international airport in a line for customs, and Dad remembered they had 4 cookies that a 60-year-old should definitely not have in airport security 15 meters from customs. Knowing a suspicious block of foil would be asked about, he tried his luck again. Mum and Mrs. X declined, but Mr. X subtly ate his, and Dad had the other 3 while in the line.
Oh my God.
By the time the 4 of them were boarding the plane, Dad's mate was giggling until he passed out for the whole flight, while Dad could hold himself in any situation no matter what he'd eaten or drank. No one was hurt or arrested on that trip. I'm sorry I missed your live shows, Will, but I'll be seeing the one in Canberra with my partner and some mates. Cheers, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
I had a mate who's he's getting up there in age, not a spring chicken at all, and I went to visit another friend in Los Angeles, and this mate, the other mate, the older one, was staying there as well, and we sort of did a little changeover because I was staying there and we'd hand over the keys, and he's heading to the airport, and he said to me, "I'm going to have a little cookie before I get on the plane." About 3 hours later, get a phone call. It's like he's on the floor of the Qantas lounge, like so telling the staff he's completely fine, but they weren't sure he's completely fine. They had to put him in a wheelchair and take him back out to a taxi and send him back. They wouldn't let him on the plane. It was like, dude, what were you thinking? He's like, I was having a good time. It was everyone else who had the problem.
Well, you've got to get on the plane though. Like you're at an airport. That's the problem. Like, I mean, I've been in a situation like that, but you've got to time your run so that like, because once you're on a plane and you're just like passed out for the 8 hours you need to be passed out for, then that's totally fine. It's good. It's helpful at that point. Like, the staff don't have to do anything. Poke you occasionally to see if you're breathing.
There's obviously like company policy about not letting drunk passengers on planes, right? But like, is it just inebriated? Like, it's just
inebriated of any kind.
This guy's way too high. I don't think they're
like, they're just like, well, we've only got a rule about alcohol. This guy's clearly done a bunch of heroin, but we don't have a specific guideline for that. So let's let him on.
This is from Nick Willie Connolly. Hey guys, one thing I really enjoy from philosophy is the occasional deep dives into comedy theory. I also love Billy Connolly, as I know Will does too. I don't know if this could work, but since Billy Connolly's YouTube channel has uploaded heaps of big yin clips,
Mm.
maybe we could have a pod where you pick apart 2 or 3 clips, like Old Lady on the Bus, Toblerone, Potatoes of the Night, and go through them. Not necessarily dissect the theory underpinning every word, to be honest, but I'd just love to hear your thoughts, Will. What do you think about that? So I guess like a reacts video to some Billy Connolly stand-up.
So funny. I was thinking about this recently, which is because I love, um, hearing people talk about the theory of comedy. There's been um, a few podcasts that I listen to where, I mean, there's one called Good One, which is the Vulture Comedy Podcast, which is a podcast about jokes. And basically, they will take a routine by a particular artist. So, a couple of minutes of one particular routine. And then the basis of the conversation at least starts with the idea of tell us about this joke and where it came from and how it's structured and those sort of things. And sometimes it just becomes a general conversation about the person and their career and whatever. But occasionally you get a guest on who really loves to talk about, the way that the words are arranged or the particular choice of words or the way that the language builds or whatever it might be about their joke. And I try to find, and when I like hear a good episode of it, I'm always like, it's one of those things that I want more of. And I try to find good. I think that the problem is that comedy absolutely is, I mean, it's obviously incredibly subjective, as is music and all those things that they have react videos to. But like, what one person finds funny and why they find it funny, I think is a little bit different to the way you would do like a reacts video to music or something like that. But I do like the idea of just being able to say, this is why. And I think that's what I like sometimes sometimes you'll get like a music reacts video where it's like, this is a trained opera singer hears blah, blah, blah for the first time or whatever, right? And they're doing quite a academic breakdown of, what the person might be doing. And then occasionally it's just like, idiot who has YouTube channel reacts to, someone who's not an expert in any
American
way.
sees AFL for the first time or something
and
like
they're
that.
literally just reacting to it and saying, this is what I like. And it is without context. That's a very long-winded answer, but I would like to do that. Not just for like Billy Connolly, but I quite love to talk to comedians about, I don't know if it's one of those things where you'd be like, it'd be just be weird to like, I mean, I'm a comedian, right? Like, so it's weird for me. Is it weird for me to go, here's this bit by Pete Holmes or here's this bit by, whoever, and going, this is why I like it. And this is what I, like about it.
I don't think that, I don't think it's unusual at all. In the same way, like Tarantino is as big a movie fan as he is a filmmaker. Like, I'm amazed the amount of stuff you can find of Tarantino online. It's like a 2-minute, 3-minute clip of him talking about some film or whatever, or why he loved, the plot twist of something or the casting of someone in a particular role. I think you're really good at that. Like, I love hearing you sort of break down, the structure and the intent and, the different levels of comedy. I think it could be a really good little, like little side little thing of just like, the single jokes or whole routines or whatever it is, just hearing. And I don't think it has to be necessarily like an academic or this is the history of comedy.
Well, that's what I wouldn't want it to be that. Like,
no, it's just the stuff that you respond to. And
I don't have specific like training, in comedy or comedy theory, right? Like they aren't necessarily, and I don't even have like particular training in this is this particular style of joke or joke structure. I'm more, this is what I respond to. This is what I get from this. This is why I love this particular bit or this particular, routine or the way that this joke was executed or whatever. That I would like to talk about that because I love, sometimes it's that Gary Gulman, who is a brilliant comedian, he often says of like stand-up comedy, he says, be the comedian that you would like to see. And this is one of those areas where I'd like to see, like, I mean, if there was someone who was doing this like, and just kind of introducing me to, you know, comedy that I perhaps hadn't seen before, or just like a different way to look at something that I had seen before, or whatever. But just from that, the enthusiasm of a fan, it's not going to be like, would never be a negative thing. Like, there'd be never any reason to go, I'm going to discuss this thing and tell you why it's bad, right? Like, it would only be,
what's the point in that?
yeah, no, it would only be like, here's something I like and here's why I like it. And by the way, I'm not an expert, or I'm not the person who came up with it. But there is, I don't know, do you think, because it is something I've thought about a bit, where I'm like, I wonder if that is something that I could, because every time
100%.
I find something and watch something, I do kind of feel like, I wish I could like tell people about this, or why I like this particular, you know, joke this person does.
Well, we had a discussion after Chris Rock's like his last special, the one where he talked about Will Smith. And I found that really fascinating, because you were explaining, if I, you know, given the same circumstances, this is how I would have approached. I know you're saying you don't want to do that. You're not wanting to critique or anything, but I think it's the same thing of like, it's your understanding of the setup, you know, what the premise is, how you misdirect, you know, where you're going to lead the audience. I think that's really interesting for a non-comedy person like myself, or someone who's, you know, I'm not overly familiar with lots of different comedy specials or comedians or whatever. Even if it's like 5 minutes, like a 5-minute video, I think could be really interesting. Like, you see,
so how do you
is
think,
it GQ to the,
because this is one of the things with React videos that I've noticed is, with music, it can kind of work okay, right? Because you can get a few bars of the music and whatever, but you can still kind of get that idea of what the whole song might be, or you might just go and listen to the whole song. How do you deal with, when you're talking about a comedic routine, that idea
when you're pausing
of
the video before the punchline,
right?
putting the timing?
Because I think sometimes you would be doing that to try to want to point out something, but at the same time, does that then ruin, like, would you be better just taking a small bit, playing it first, and then like then coming back and going, here's what I like, here are the things I like.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, I just pick a length of routine that's not too long, so 2 minutes max. Play the whole thing. Hi, I'm Will Anderson. Thanks, GQ. This is Comedian Breaks Down a stand-up bit, you know? And then you just go through it step by step. There was a great like article or blog written a couple of years ago by a guy, some, you know, anonymous internet person was like, I don't think the cowbell sketch is funny. I think people laugh because, you know, they don't get it or whatever. It's, you know, people laugh because they think they should. And some comedy writer came out and said, okay, like, I don't want to do this because it's so lame, but let's break down exactly why the cowbell sketch is funny, and I'll prove to you, like, without a shadow of a doubt. And I thought that was fascinating, because they did approach it more with a history of comedy thing, and this bit's absurdist, this bit's that. But it was fun to sort of see how the sausage was made, you know. So I think you could do an abridged version of that, where it's like, like a 2-minute routine, and then you sort of come in. And I think what's good about the way you do it is because it is personal. Like, just hearing the bits that the kind of the moments that stood out to you, as opposed to, this is where they've structured the punchline, this is how they've done the setup. Like, you know, getting your take of, that's, you know, interesting, because most comedians would probably take it in this direction, but, you know, she or he decided to go in this direction. I think that stuff could be really, really interesting.
Well, the one thing that we can all agree on is I need another project. So
well, maybe we can make it a special Patreon. We'll find some time and we'll just do it.
Because this started with the idea of the Billy Connolly thing, like, I think would be a good way to just like try this as an experiment, to, you know, go to that idea of, is there like a classic Billy Connolly joke that I do love that I could like talk about in that way, and then just see if that's something that is of interest to people. Maybe we could have a conversation, you and I. Maybe we could like just listen to a routine, like, you know, because like, I mean, particularly with Connolly, a lot of this stuff's just like recorded material, right? Like, maybe we could do a Patreon bonus episode even, where we're like, I could talk to you about what I like about it, and, you know, like, you know, and then that might be interesting to have, like you said, have that conversation around it, like we did with you know, the Chris Rock thing.
We call ourselves the Joke Blokes.
Yeah, that's it. That's good. All right. Yeah.
And then at some point, almost without people noticing it, we pivot. We pivot into the manosphere. And all of a sudden, we're just criticizing all female comics. and it's like, this is why you want a high value woman and all this kind of stuff. And then we're selling supplements. And before you know it, we're shirtless. We've got nipple rings. The Joke Blokes. The hottest new YouTube channel coming soon.
I bet there's already, by the way, I bet if I Google Joke Blokes right now, there's already Joke Blokes on YouTube. Well, there's Jokes from Blokes. That's a YouTube channel. So.
Yeah, Jokes from Blokes. Bloke jokes, jokey blokey.
Yeah, okay, Joke Blokes. Okay, we might still be able to get Joke Blokes.
Yeah, all right. I'll sit on the domain now. You mentioned Patreon. Well, that is still the best way to support all the podcasts we do. Patreon.com/everyonerelax. Lots of bonus content there, including ad-free episodes of every show and full videos of this show, TOFOP. Everyone relax. The feed is alive. Every show is back. We go Monday is Two Guys, One Cup. It goes Tuesday, TOFOP with friends. Wednesday, TOFOP. Thursday, Philosophy. Friday, we give you some time off. We've given you some good loving. You know, we want to give you a bit of a break. We can't go too hard all week.
But there might be some occasions where, you know, like there'll be an extra philosophy or some other things in there as well. So
Joke Blokes.
Or Joke Blokes. Yeah, exactly. I'm on tour as well. Will Legitimate is the name of my tour. So comedy.com.au to check where it is playing near you.
And that is TOFOP for this week. We'll be back soon. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.
How long? Not long. Everyone relax.